Hello, my name is Payton May.
And my name is Ryan Jones.
And I guess this attachment to place, like some people were, have place and some people were placeless, like transient, right? Yeah. And I was of the disposition, being younger, that I wanted to see what else was out there. I lived in California for a bit, Montana, had studied abroad in Barcelona, went to Charlottesville to school. So I've been all over the place to some degree. And I think you just realize like what you have here culturally, what the familial unit kind of means and how substantial that is here. And then what it means to have community and be so deeply embedded with a mass of people. And I think that's what makes it really special.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Hollercast. This episode of the show was recorded in Pikeville, Kentucky at BitSource. BitSource is a software development company that is most famous for teaching out-of-work coal miners or coal industry professionals how to code. So we went down there as a group and we got a tour of the facility, got to meet the guys and see a little bit of what's going on down there. Then we also recorded a podcast. So in this podcast, we have Payton May and Ryan Jones. Payton is the Chief Operations Officer at BitSource, and Ryan is the Director of SOAR Innovations. And we've had some guests from SOAR on the show before. Ryan works pretty closely with BitSource, so we thought it'd be appropriate to have him in and tell kind of that part of the story. So we set up shop in Payton's office, and we just got to hear the BitSource story a little and learn a bit more about him. Chase was in the room too. I forgot to mention that in the actual recording, but you'll hear him chime in every now and then. So sit back and relax, enjoy the episode. Thank you guys for listening. Hello and welcome back to the Hollercast, the show produced by the Holler Creative. I'd usually say out of Corbin, Kentucky, but today we are on location at BitSource in Pikeville, Kentucky. Today we're in the studio with Payton May and Ryan Jones. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Doing good.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. So, before we get into what BitSource even is, because these people might not know about it, we have an icebreaker that we've been asking everyone on the show, just because it's cool to hear everyone else's different answers to the same question. So, what is your guys' go-to gas station snack and drink? Because people kind of always get different food at a gas station than they would get anywhere else.
Here lately, mine has been a water, a peanut butter crunchy Cliff Bar, a banana, and Mingwa beef jerky.
Can't go wrong
Stuff
with Mingwa.
is the bomb. I think I said that correctly. I don't know.
Some people say Mingwa, some people say Mingo. I normally just roll with Mingo.
That's the most like well-rounded, balanced, healthy gas station snack.
That was.
I do the really hot kind too, the one with pepper flakes in it. So yeah, that's my go-to.
Right now I like them sour octopus candies.
Gosh, those are fantastic.
Those gummy chews. And then I usually get some kind of tea, but I can't remember the name of that stuff. It's like cold herbal. It seems kind of nice.
Is the bottle shaped kind of funny?
Yeah. It feels more, high-end gas
Fiji
station.
water of gas station.
Every time I spend a lot of time in the car with Payton riding around, but anytime we stop at a gas station, he always comes out with like sour candy. Like that is his thing.
It's good. It's a big, strong sensation,
Yeah.
For the thrill seeker.
That's what I'm about.
Okay, so Payton, what is BitSource and what do you guys do here?
So we're a software development company. We build anything from a basic website to a mobile application to a more complex kind of B2B custom software solution. We're in AR and VR a little bit, and then I've played with interaction and gaming in Unity. But BitSource is probably most known for training coal miners to do software development. So we started 5 years ago and hired 10 coal miners or coal industry professionals rather, who had been laid off and then started BitSource.
Cool. So I watched the Google highlight video of you.
Yeah.
And when they talk about you, they're basically just like, we needed a creative guy, so we called Payton. And it's just you
So we called Payton.
rowing down the river in this little boat. So what?
Is that actually what it is?
It is.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
And Peyton's got like this really
Outboard
long
fishing.
hair in it.
Yeah,
and
I
this,
don't remember that part.
He's got like a cowboy hat on, I think.
Yeah.
It made you look really, really cool.
It wasn't
so, like,
staged. That's like his everyday. kind
I
of thing.
think that my interview was so horrible that they were like, well, we can still make him look cool if we get this video, this boat scene in here.
So what's the a little bit longer story of how you ended up here?
Yeah, so I met Rusty probably like a couple years before BitSource had started, and I worked with him over a summer while I was in grad school, and we just kind of ride around in the truck and, shoot the shiz.
The breeze, Peyton, the breeze. You shoot the breeze.
And then I did a little bit of work for him. So we had kind of just kept building a relationship. And then I'd actually played Little League Baseball with Lynn's son like when I was 9, so I kind of knew both of them for a while. And then I was actually in Montana doing this like non-profit Christian architecture kind of summer program with this group called Hundredfold. And then I stayed longer and did this little West Coast tour with like a performing arts group called Axios. And like while that was going on, I was having conversations with Rusty and Lynn about what they wanted to do here.
Yeah.
So I'd made a couple trips back, that kind of thing. And then initially, because I don't think they knew how BitSource was going to take shape. And so at first they were just looking at doing kind of back-end development. And I think when Justin came into the picture, this kind of like creative agency idea kind of started to evolve. So Rusty had initially just asked me to be involved in helping develop the brand a little bit and doing the remodeling of the space here from like the design perspective. So I helped with the logo, picked floors, put up art pieces, that kind of thing. And then it slowly just evolved into, okay, well, let's have you as a creative director and help on the front end side of design.
Is that still your role today, or are you doing something different now that the company's grown a bit?
Yeah, so I, played the creative director role probably for like a year or two, and then just slowly started to take on more operations kind of responsibilities. So my role is currently, Chief Operations Officer, and I'm primarily doing, the operations side of BitSource now. And I get to dabble in design every now and then, but not much.
You still enjoy design though, right?
Oh yeah, as you can see from the...
There's artwork all over the walls in here. So, as people who believe in this region and want to see opportunity and hope and like economic development come back to the region, what is it about the region that makes you guys believe in it?
It's a big question.
Or what do you love about the region? If that's
It's home, right? And I guess this attachment to place, like some people were, have place and some people were placeless, like transient, right? And I was of the disposition, being younger, that I wanted to see what else was out there. I lived in California for a bit, Montana, had studied abroad in Barcelona, went to Charlottesville to school. So I've been all over the place to some degree. And I think you just realize like what you have here culturally, what the familial unit kind of means and how substantial that is here. And then what it means to have community and be so deeply embedded with a mass of people. And I think that's what makes it really special.
Yeah, for sure.
I think for me, it's also, it is home for me. I came to college here in 2006, and every sort of opportunity I've had it's just been a blessing because of the people I have been able to connect with since being here. I'm originally from Hayside, Virginia, and I came here in 2006 to go to school. I played baseball for the University of Pikeville, and really never left. And I didn't leave because of the people. I really got to know a lot of people here and developed a lot of good friendships, and then sort of every job that I've had has just been because of the network of people here. And it's just been a blessing to me. So I hope that answers the
for sure.
question.
A lot of people have said, it seems like the two answers are like, because I asked this similar question. A lot of people say that it's home, so it's like, why wouldn't you believe in where you're from or whatever? And then some people have the combination answer of like the scenery is beautiful and the people, which is my answer. The people here are unlike anywhere else that I've been. They're so like welcoming
and here, Eastern Kentucky as a whole, I see it as like one community. So like it's almost like a small town. Everybody knows everybody in the whole region. There's so many connections that you make being from a place like Eastern Kentucky and Appalachia.
That's been a lot more evident as of lately to me too. I feel like it's been very well said and well put, and a lot of people are banding together, like Eastern Kentucky against the rest of the world, which I think is awesome.
And I prefer the rural context too, like, sure, we have to drive really far to get to an airport, relatively to go somewhere, but it's like I can also go home and walk straight into the woods and be around nobody. Like in 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty
peaceful.
Yeah.
Get away from it all.
Yeah.
And were you a part of having to sort through like 1,000-ish applicants? Because you originally had like 900, close to 1,000 coal miner or coal industry workers apply to be coders.
So I was there as the spreadsheet was getting kind of filled out. I wasn't directly part of that kind of like filtering. And Rusty and Lynn are the co-founders, and pulled in Justin. But I think I've been around. Since right there at the beginning,
Do you know how they sorted through that many applicants, or?
Yeah, so we had just like a giant spreadsheet built basically, and then there were a couple key terms, right? Like, had you previously been unemployed from the coal industry, and then what was previous tech experience, if any, and so like there were some factors like that, and then also location. So and then job type. So we tried to get a representative sample of the region. So people on the BitSource team represent 5 counties, and then they represent underground miners, above ground miners, and then industry support. And then there's one outside of. So we tried to get that representative sample. And then, after the 1,000 came in, they narrowed it down to 60 and tested, those 60 to see what their kind of aptitude was to do software development, then interviewed 20 to 30, and then hired 10.
Yeah. Is there something about coal miners you think that makes them like ideal for this kind of job, or a skill set that they have that transfers over really well?
Yeah. I mean, what I've seen is that, there's a diversity of skill sets that are happening there. Like, there's engineers working, there's people operating complex equipment, there's people who are doing maintenance planning, there's also people who are just like shoveling a belt line, Yeah. So it's like when you start taking the test for aptitude, then you get that full spectrum. Like, I think there's people just across any sector probably that have an aptitude for a specific trade.
Yeah.
It's been awesome, having a company like BitSource located here, and a really good testament to other, people that might look at an investment, that you can reimagine a workforce. These people are really skilled at what they do, and it transfers really well through a company that is solely focused on technology.
Yeah. What are some challenges that you guys have had to overcome? Are there any that stick out to you as BitSource has been?
Yeah, there's been a ton, right? I mean, because we're a startup, and then we're taking untraditional kind of workforce in this sector and then retooling it. Then not only that, we're trying to enter the global and national marketplace in a competitive landscape, and then understand on the operations and management side how to run a company. You know. That's software development, because Rusty and Lynn have plenty of experience running businesses, so they've been able to provide structure there. But as far as how to shape the agreement so you don't get scope creep and how to manage the software development process, it's been definitely a learning experience.
You guys had to develop your own sort of like curriculum to teach these miners to code.
Yes, so we used a lot of like open source that was out there, but Justin, played a huge role in that in the beginning. He was a self-taught developer, so we definitely leaned towards open source resources. Used YouTube, W3 schools, like Lynda as well. So we got a whole assortment of training kind of resources, and then shaped curriculum around just like, well, what's the internet, and like the kind of higher level view of how this whole like technology world kind of works, and then what's HTML, what's CSS, what's JavaScript, jQuery, and then what's PHP, what's MySQL, what's object-oriented programming, what's C#, etc., and then it just grew it. Yeah.
It's so cool. We found a whole company based on like knowledge that we have easy access to. We can just go learn anything on YouTube now.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
That's crazy. What's next for BitSource, or what's like the future look like?
We're trying to find our niche, right? Mm-hmm. So we've experimented with products. We created one called OD Save that was for a Narcan kind of response app for the opioid kind of community. Mm-hmm. We've got a product called Lend a Hand that's for school bullying, like a reporting app for preventing violence and that kind of thing. And then we've got a whole suite of products right now that we're working on for municipals. And then most recently, we've launched our first HIPAA-compliant website, which is a pretty big deal, I think, for us. And then we're kind of in the industrial space trying to find a product around, wayfinding and maintenance kind of planning and management. So we're trying to take the skill sets of our developers, match them to what we see as potential market opportunities to then build a sustainable product suite so that we can build a company around.
Yeah.
That aligns a lot with the Holler too. We are definitely trying to niche down. I mean, we talked about earlier. We've done everything that we can think to do to please a business to get their foot in the door. Mm-hmm. And we're working on people coming to us for a very specific thing now, and hopefully being able to provide that to our best in full capacity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One thing super well instead of
a lot of things kind of well.
Good.
Right.
This episode of the Hollercast is brought to you by Holler Hustle. For concise, quick, informed marketing news, check out hollerhustle.com.
Is there one project that you guys have done that you're particularly proud of?
So, I mentioned a few there. Mm-hmm. I really like OD Save because it came out of a SOAR MIT hackathon, and we collaboratively came up with it as a pretty diverse group. I was there representing BitSource, and then we had a drug counselor there, a professor, and then a pharmacist, and a first responder. So it was cool to see that idea come out of that kind of context. And then our team here, former coal industry workers build a pretty solid mobile application as a response to that. And we've been to Miami to present it. We've sort of conducted several gatherings here with first responders to try and get it out there, and just ran into the limitations of access to Narcan, kind of figuring out how to deploy a solution like that. Mm-hmm. So where it wasn't necessarily a success as a deployed product that has millions of users or anything, I think the story is pretty cool.
Certainly.
But I like Lend a Hand a lot as a mobile app. We worked with students in the local school here for that to emerge. So I think these opportunities where we're solving issues that are relevant, to our region and locally, and are also have, a national application, are kind of hey, look, we can solve our own problems or take a stab at doing it ourselves with technology. So I think those are cool.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing that's been great having BitSource here is some of the relationships they have with larger technology companies like Google, right? So SOAR is now a partner with Google because of the relationship that BitSource has had with them. And a couple weeks ago we were able to host Google here and have a workshop to where they led, and almost 120 or so people were here for the event. So it's been, I think that part is really powerful, how they can develop relationships with even larger tech companies that could potentially do something even bigger in Appalachia. Who knows?
And Rusty and Lynn, and you'll hear them say this too, that no publicity was ever really sought, right? It was just a critical moment in time that kind of attracted attention because of the, nature of the effort, right? But they've tried, I think, very hard to protect the story and then leverage all of these connections to help the community, So I think that's just a testament to kind of their spirit and overall mission-driven kind of efforts, alongside what it means to be an entrepreneur in this space too.
Yeah,
definitely. And you guys saw the space, right? We went out into the space where we did host the Google event, so we're kind of looking at that space as being a innovation hub and a place for entrepreneurs and startup companies to come in to be able to have a place to work, but also have more resources in the same building, and sort of developing more of a structured accelerator incubator program, and continuing on building off of those workshops that we've been doing. So in the same building as BitSource, we'll eventually, hopefully in 2020, will be an innovation hub with some formal structure.
That'd be awesome. So the closing question we've been asking everyone is, what's something new that you've tried, whether it's like personally, professionally, educationally, whatever it may be. So what's something new you've tried recently, and how is it going? Because we believe like trying new things helps you learn how to learn, and then like being okay with failure. Not necessarily that you failed the first time you try, but it helps you to grow.
I mean, I think take it upon myself to constantly be looking for something new to do. So like behind you here is a 3D print extruder head built out of PVC pipe and like accumulated parts that will print recycled plastic that's open source. So, we've assembled that here with Paul. And then we've been trying like a whole slew of coffees, and I've recently been getting into, these oolong teas and getting more like deeper into the beverage space, but also like the cultural kind of like ritual that's built into these practices, and like seeing how these like small attention to the things that we're like consuming really impacts our overall like experience. So I'm trying to focus on like well-being, I think, from that perspective. And try and make healthier decisions so that I can get more out of this life thing that
He's got a barbell on his office floor.
Professionally for me was facilitating a business accelerator program called Co-Starters. Really have been enjoying that program, and we've done 6 cohorts this year in Eastern Kentucky, and each cohort had 10 to 15 participants. So being able to facilitate a program like that and help other entrepreneurs in the community has been really rewarding, and seeing where they are now, even 6 months ago, because of just a short 9-week program. They were able to get a lot of knowledge from experienced entrepreneurs in the program. Personally, roasting coffee beans, that has been a pretty awesome experience. Seeing the bean come from the farm to at the end process when you're consuming it, and watching that bean turn color as it goes into the roaster. I mean, it's just a really cool process, and really unique process that we've been kind of tinkering around with for the last 10 or 12 months, and certainly have not perfected the process, but we're failing and all the time and learning. So it's been really cool to see that come to fruition now.
And then to plug Bright, because we recently just graduated from that. I mean, we wouldn't probably be sitting here potentially if we didn't meet there.
I agree with that.
And so I think even if you've heard about BitSource or we've heard about you, it's like that relationship that gets established just opens the door for this stuff to grow. So I like what the ARC and what Leadership Kentucky and Elmer, Whitaker Bank, SOAR, everybody like pulled together there to create.
Yeah, that's awesome. Final thoughts? Anything you'd like to add?
I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too.
It's lunchtime.
I could eat. Then that'll do.
That'll do, Pooh.
I'll sign us off real quick.
Too bad I don't have my DJ board set up in here yet. I could have just done the intro music and stuff.
Okay, that's all we have for today. Thank you, Payton and Ryan, for being on the show, and we'll catch you guys next time on the Hollercast.